So, have you ever heard of the Tri-Cities area in Washington? Well, I really hadn't, but I knew my friend lived somewhere near that in Southern Washington. Today, we are actually talking to Renae. She's my friend. She lives in Southern Washington, and we want to learn more about your area and who's moving to your area and what kind of opportunities are there. So, welcome, Renae.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Of course. And it looks like you're in a very nice home right now. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm actually sitting at an open house for one of my listings. I'll step aside.
Ooh,
Yeah,
very nice.
this home was built in 1944. It's what's called a prefab home that the federal government made when they were creating the Hanford site out here. And this house has been completely renovated from top to bottom.
Wow, it looks beautiful from right here. Well, that's awesome. Well, here's what I want. Can you tell us just, who you are, how you got into real estate, and then tell us, about your family and just some things about you.
Awesome. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Renae Quigley. I live in West Richland, Washington, with my husband, Todd, also known as Handsome Distraction. We have been together for, gosh, over 30 years.
Ooh.
Together, we have four grown children, two boys and two girls, and five grandchildren. And we are proud owners of a brand new to us French bulldog named Penny. Yes, she's amazing.
Oh,
We
I
actually
love it.
inherited her from one of my daughters. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but you know what? My road to real estate was kind of an unusual journey. It actually took me 20 years from the time that I knew I wanted to get into real estate until I actually did it. And that was primarily because my husband, if you know anything about the disc profile and personalities, my husband is a high S, high C. So
Mm.
stability is really, really important to him. And, the thought of being in a compensation only industry just like made the man break out in hives. So it was a 20-year journey, but here's what's really cool about it. Every step of the way, every industry that I have been in, I've I have developed a skill set that not only was applicable to that industry, but then turned around and is something I'm able to use in real estate. And so, while it was a long journey, I can definitely see how all the loose ends tied together to make it one kind of cohesive, in my estimation, final journey. Hopefully, we're not, changing industries again anytime soon. But I get to put it all into good use.
I love that. And I know some of your background. I remember, oh, well, first of all, let me say to be married to an SC to me is a dream. I love it. I have an SC husband and I'm an ID.
Okay.
Oh, it works perfectly. But yes, they like security. My husband takes a long time to make decisions, so I'm like,
Mhm.
let's let's go.
Well, and
Um,
and this is where we're kind of similar because I'm actually a high. It depends on the situation. I'm either a DI or I'm an ID, and then the S and C kick in. But yes, it can be both a blessing and a curse.
Yes, look, I was trying to make a positive way, but yes, you're right.
No.
Now I know that some of your background didn't it include catering? Is that right? Or restaurant, maybe? Was that right?
Yes. Yeah, actually, it included catering. So, one of my careers prior to coming into real estate was a professional event planner, designer, stager, and then I also had a catering division within my company, and I was the head chef for many, many years. And so, yeah, I've got a design, catering, event planning, staging background, all the creative stuff.
Which is so great. And that sets you apart in real estate, honestly, because I've seen a lot of different events that you have talked to all of us about putting on. They're very unique, they're very creative. You're constantly thinking of new ideas, and like, you're someone who is innovative. So I feel like that industry goes well with real estate. I was in the hospitality industry. Um, Before real estate. hotel management.
Mhm.
I don't know, some of those skills and things that we did transfer over, which is really nice. I love that.
Well, I think the thing that I love about all of my past industries, even when I was in financial services at New York Life, it's all about being client focused and centered, right? It's all about service above self. And so you really, I think that to be in real estate, you definitely need to have a servant's heart.
Yes.
And, like Jennifer, you can't be tied to outcomes, right? I just want to be, hands and feet, to be able to pour into people and to love on them in such a unique way that it makes their entire journey through real estate something that's enjoyable and not a huge burden.
I agree. I really think that, gosh, to be in real estate, you have to want to serve people at the highest level. And I think that's why you're my friend. That's why I want to talk to you because I really truly believe that with all my heart. And I think we attract those clients who appreciate that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
You know right away whether you're in alignment with your client or not.
Absolutely. And here's the good thing about real estate. Not every single client is for us, and we're not for every
Right.
single client. So that's okay
Exactly.
though. And it
Yeah.
works out somehow.
Yeah, it does. There's enough business to go around, right?
Yes, yes, I agree. Well, let's talk about the Tri-Cities area. So can you tell
Mhm.
us a little bit, what does the Tri-Cities mean exactly?
Okay, well, I'm glad that you asked that question because, anytime I tell people that I'm from Washington State, they automatically, well, when I say I'm from Washington, they're like, DC, and I'm like, no, the state. Oh, Seattle? No. And they'll go, oh, Spokane? No. It's the Tri-Cities. I am in the southeastern corner of Washington State that borders Oregon and Idaho. And the reason that it's called the Tri-Cities, actually every city has a name, but we call it the Tri-Cities because it's where three major cities converge on three major rivers, the Columbia, the Snake, and the Yakima. So there are three very distinct cities, very distinct personalities, right, in this area. And it really was an area that sprung into life in the 1940s when the federal government started the Hanford Project, which is it was a nuclear development plant at the time. Now we focus on cleanup, nuclear cleanup and waste management. Um, but it has history and it doesn't have history. I mean, I grew up in a turn of the century community in Washington State called Ellensburg, which is right in central Washington, and it's got historic buildings. I mean, turn of the century kind of stuff. We don't have an awful lot of older homes and buildings like that here. There's not a lot here that was built prior to 1940.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay.
So nuclear energy, that's one of the main industries, if you will, that's in your area.
Yes.
Obviously that brings people from, other nuclear sites, I'm
Correct.
assuming.
Correct, correct. Yeah, we will draw a lot of people. So if someone has a nuclear energy type of background, science and stuff, they're going to come here. But then there's also the cleanup and stuff. So we're very heavily into like we have a lot of STEM schools here because of the Hanford area. So engineers, you know, uh, uh, thermonuclear or nuclear technicians, that kind of stuff. But we also have, or I shouldn't say but, and we also have a thriving agricultural industry here. So Washington, and specifically the Tri-Cities, our climate and our soil is very similar to that of Italy. In fact, we've got a sister city in Italy. And so wine is huge in this area. I mean, I can't go within a 2 mile radius of my home and not hit at least a dozen wineries and tasting rooms. Okay, so
Oh.
there's a lot of wine here. But then we also, in our ag area, we've got apples, we've got pears, we've got potatoes and corn. So we've got cherries. So we've got a lot of that industry here as
Hmm.
well. And then, of course, on top of all of that, because again, our weather is a lot like that in Italy, we have a lot of sunshine here. And because we're on three converging rivers, there's a lot of um, summer activity and water activity here. In fact,
Oh.
our area is home to one of the largest hydroplane race events in the country in July. So we've got a lot of variety of things to appeal to people. And on top of that, we're just a stone's throw away from the Blue Mountains. So if people enjoy like the mountains and winter sports and skiing, we've got that in the Blues. We also have it in White Pass and Snoqualmie Pass, which again is about a 2.5 hour drive. So and great fishing and stuff too. So there's a lot to be grateful for here and a lot for people to explore.
Well, and when you said wineries, I had no idea, because a lot of times when I hear wineries, I think of California and things like
Right.
that.
Mhm.
But if maybe people weren't wanting to go to California, your area in Southern Washington would be a great place to go to some wineries to,
Mhm.
if people like the water sports and things like that and summer activities, that's a really great place. It sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
it really is. It's very diverse.
And I've heard of Washington apples. They come here to Indiana.
Mhm.
So yeah, and you have corn, so we have something in common because that's pretty much what we have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely.
So, yes. Okay, so let's talk about Tri-Cities, or you can focus on one city. What is the real estate market like in your area right now? We are on a call with lots of agents every morning, and we hear kind of about different cities in the United States and what their market looks like. What does yours look like?
Well, that's a really, really good question, Jennifer. And I wish I could just give you a blanket answer response, but I can't. Because again, each city has its own unique vibe and personality. And then even within each city, there's, pockets and neighborhoods that are in higher demand than others. So my answer is our market depends. It depends on which city you want to be in. It depends on which community you want to be in. It depends on your price point. I mean, we've got homes here, anywhere from $64,000 for like a, little manufactured home in a park, all the way up to 3.3 million
Mm.
and more. So it's really, really diverse. I will tell you that our average days on the market for the year right now is about 38 days on market. And our average price point for the year is about $464,000. Now, obviously, some are going to be higher, some are going to be lower, right? And I mean, I think average for the year, we've got a little under actually 900 homes on the market right now. If you take out the to be built construction, so we have a huge booming, um, new construction market here. We haven't really had the bursting bubble that so much of the rest of the nation has had. Our city planners and forefathers have done a really, really good job of making sure that, as I said earlier, that our economy is very diverse, our industries are diverse, our interests are very diverse. So it attracts people all year round, rather than just seasonally, like some other areas in the state. So it just, it's a very fluctuating market. It's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market. It's both.
Sure. Well, going into that, since you have such a range of prices and lifestyles and things like that, do you find that people are coming to your area to invest? Because when you talked about with that low price point at the beginning,
Mhm.
I mean, that obviously opens the door for maybe people to invest. If people are investing, where are they coming from? Like, where do you see them coming from around the
Mhm.
country?
Yeah. Well, and again, another really, really great question. So right now, what we're seeing is a lot of people moving into the Tri-Cities as they're moving a little bit further east, from Seattle. They're escaping the I-5 corridor, which goes from Seattle all the way down to California, because it's becoming so expensive to
Mm.
live over there. So our cost of living is lower. And so what we're finding is that people either migrate this direction and stop, or they stop for a short period and then they move further east to Idaho, which is even more affordable. right? But when we talk about, where people are coming from, so we've got that I-5 corridor, the Pacific Coast corridor that people are moving over from. But then we also get a lot of people that transfer here, that relocate here from other nuclear plants and nuclear cleanup sites. So we get a lot of people coming in from Tennessee. We get people coming in from like Virginia, Charleston, that area, Tennessee, coming this direction. We also get people coming up from Nevada, from New Mexico, where you have a lot of science labs and stuff there.
Mhm.
So a lot of people coming up from there, people coming over from Texas, which surprises me because like Texas is my favorite state. I'm like, I want to go there, right? But we
Right.
have people coming from all over, even from Alaska.
Wow. Okay. So you can see people coming from all over. What
Mhm.
about communities where people are looking to retire? Is your area somewhere that maybe someone would consider having a second home or maybe just retiring? You are close to wineries and fun things to do.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, what I have seen in my experience is that a lot of the older retired people that are moving here are moving here because of children and grandchildren to be
mm,
closer to them. So we see an awful lot of that. And we do have a very thriving 55 and older community. In fact, we have two major communities being built under construction right now. So we do have a very thriving 55 and older community here. Some of them are investing, some of them aren't, right? When we talk investors, there's a lot of people that invest in this area. In fact, the home that I'm standing in right now is an investment fix or flip, right? So we see a lot. I mean, it's so diverse. We see a lot of different things here. What I love about the Tri-Cities is that there's no one size fits all, as far as real estate goes. It's very much a melting pot of real estate experiences here.
but I love that. And one thing you just mentioned, you said that people are moving because their family, their grandkids, their kids live there. That is the number one. And, I've talked to a few other people on these videos. That is the number one reason that I have heard, and this is from other
Mhm.
realtors, that people are just up and moving or getting a second home in other cities for
Yep.
family and friends. And with this very large population of, more of an aging population or retired population. I think that's
Mhm.
going to just happen more and more, no rhyme or reason, but just depending on where your family is. And
Mhm.
that's a good thing for all of us, right?
Yeah. Well, and truly, I mean, I said earlier, Texas is like my spirit state because my oldest daughter and son-in-law and two grandchildren live there. So I go there a lot, like 4 or 5 times a year. And if I had my way, I would move there. Like
Mm.
Johnny on the spot, I would move there because of the pool of grandchildren. Now, I have grandchildren here too, though. I've got
Oh,
three here. And so, right now we just straddle Washington and Texas. So I go back and forth an awful lot. But yeah, the pool is very, very real. And with, over 15,000 baby boomers retiring every day for the next 15 years, it's only going to be magnified, right? I mean, we don't see new construction slowing down anytime soon in my market. I mean,
mm-mm.
it's booming, it's thriving because of the people moving in.
The boomers are making it boom.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
Okay, listen. That is so true. I am so thankful I got to talk to you because now I know for the first time about Southern Washington, and I loved learning about the wineries and the things to do
Mhm.
and what industries are there. That's why I love talking to all of you guys. And, if you're looking, to move to Southern Washington or, even planning on going there to visit or, maybe you want a second home somewhere just to travel to, Renae is the expert in the area. So if you want to contact her, you can contact me and I'll give you her information. But Renae, you are so wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, well, this has been a lot of fun, Jennifer. I am just so humbled and honored that you would ask me to do this. And yes, if any, if you or your followers know anyone that's moving to the area, I would love to be a resource for them.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
I will. You too, my friend.